The island. The pirates ran to look at the land. Quickly, I climbed out of the barrel and followed them. In the light of the moon, we could see 2 hills. "Who knows this land?" Captain Smollett asked the crew. "Me, sir," said Long John. The captain showed him a map of the island. "Is this the place?" Long John looked at the map with big eyes. But it wasn't the map from Billy Bones's chest. It was a copy, and there weren't any red crosses on it. Silver was angry, but he didn't show it. He smiled. "Yes, sir, this is the place." I wanted to tell my story to the captain, the squire, and the doctor. When Dr. Livesey asked me to go to the cabin and bring his pipe and tobacco, I said, "Doctor, I must speak to you. I have terrible news." The doctor's face changed, but he said, "Thank you, Jim. Go down to the cabin now." And then he went to the squire and the captain and spoke to them quietly. "Men," the captain said to the crew, "the doctor and I are going down to the cabin to drink some wine." Down in the cabin, I told them everything about Silver's conversation. They looked at me. They didn't move or speak. When I stopped, Mr. Trelawney said to the captain, "You were right, and I was wrong. What can we do?" "We've got time because Silver is clever and he'll wait," said the captain. "I think we must attack the pirates first. How many men have we got?" "7, including Jim," said the doctor. "How many honest men are there in the crew?" "There are the 4 men that the squire found before he met Silver," the captain said. "But," said Mr. Trelawney, "Israel Hands was one of them. Well, we don't know how many men are good." "Jim can help us," said Dr. Livesey. "The men like him and talk to him. He can tell us who is honest or bad." There were only 7 men out of 26, and I was only a boy. So there were 6 adult men against 19 pirates. Next morning, I looked at the island. I saw tall trees and yellow sand. The hills were high, but Spyglass Hill was very high. Our ship went towards a small island called Skeleton Island. The men prepared the boats. It was hot and they didn't like the work. They spoke angrily. We knew they wanted to kill us. But Long John smiled and spoke to them and sang. He helped to take the ship into the big harbor between Skeleton Island and Treasure Island. The captain, the doctor, Mr. Trelawney, and I went to the cabin. We gave pistols to the 3 honest men, Hunter, Joyce, and Red Ruth. Then the captain went on deck and told the crew that they could go on the island for the afternoon. "Hooray!" shouted the men. They were happy now. They thought that the treasure was already in their hands. 6 men stayed on the ship. 13, including Silver, got into the boats. Then I had a crazy idea. I decided to go to the island in one of the boats. I didn't say anything to the doctor and the squire. When I climbed into the boat, nobody saw me. My boat arrived first. I got out and ran fast into the trees. A long way behind me, Long John Silver shouted, "Jim! Jim!" But I ran and ran. I stopped and looked around me. There were strange trees and flowers and birds. The sun was hot. I could see Spyglass Hill in front of me. Then I heard voices and I went behind a tree. One of the voices was John Silver's. Now I was very afraid. I thought, "Jim, you were stupid to come to the island with these pirates, but you must help the doctor and the others." So I moved towards the pirates on my hands and knees. "Tom," said Silver, "I like you, mate, and I want to help you." The other man answered, "Silver, you're honest. I'm sure you don't want to be with these bad pirates. Not you." So this Tom was one of the honest men. Suddenly there was a long, terrible scream. It came from far away. "What was that, John?" said Tom. Long John smiled. That was Alan. He's dead now." "They've killed Alan," Tom said. "John Silver, you were my friend, but not now. Kill me too, if you can." Then brave Tom walked away with his back to the cook. But he didn't go far. Silver held the branch of a tree and he threw his crutch. It hit Tom's back like a missile. He fell. And in a moment, Silver killed him with his knife. I couldn't believe it. Now 2 honest men were dead. Then Silver called the other pirates. I ran away very fast. I thought, they'll kill me. Goodbye to the Hispaniola. Goodbye to the squire, the doctor, and the captain. I was very near Spyglass Hill. There were a lot of trees around me like a forest. Suddenly, I heard a noise behind a tree. What was it? I didn't know, and I stopped in terror. Behind me were the pirates. In front of me was this thing. I preferred the pirates, and I began to run back. But the thing began to run too. It ran from tree to tree, on 2 legs. It was a man. Was he a cannibal? I took my pistol, and I walked towards him. Slowly, he moved from behind a tree, and he came towards me. Then suddenly, he fell on his knees, and he put his hands towards me. I asked him who he was. "Ben Gunn." He answered in a strange voice. I saw that he was a white man. His eyes were blue, but his face was very dark from the sun. His clothes were old and dirty. He said, "You're the first Christian I've seen for 3 years." "What happened?" I asked. "I was marooned." I knew this was a horrible thing. The buccaneers left him on the island, to live or to die. "What's your name, mate?" he asked. I told him, "Well, Jim, many years ago I was a good boy like you, but then I became bad, and I drank a lot of rum, and here I am on this desert island." Then he looked around him and said in a quiet voice, "Jim, I'm rich." I thought, he's crazy, poor man. Rich, I tell you. But wait, Jim. Is that Flint's ship down there? No, Flint is dead, but some of the crew are Flint's men. "A man with 1 leg?" Ben Gunn asked, very frightened. "Yes, John Silver. He's the cook and the chief of the pirates." Then I told him about our voyage and our difficult situation. He said, "Well, Ben Gunn will help you. And then, do you think your squire will help me perhaps?" "Yes, he's a gentleman." "And will he take me to England on the ship?" "Oh, yes, I'm sure." "Good," Ben Gunn said happily. "I'll tell you something. I was on Flint's ship when he buried the treasure, with 6 big, strong seamen. Then he killed the 6 seamen. Well, Billy Bones and Long John asked him where the treasure was, but he didn't tell them. Then, 3 years ago, I was on another ship near this island. 'Boys, let's go and find Flint's treasure,' I said. But we couldn't find it. So the other men were angry with me and they left me on the island. You must tell the squire all this. Tell him I'm not a pirate, eh, Jim? Tell him I'm a good man." "But how can I said. "I can't go on the ship now." "True," he said. "But I've got a boat, Jim. I made it with my 2 hands. It's under the White Rock." At that moment there was a great sound of cannons. "The battle has begun," I said. "Quick, follow me." And I began to run towards the harbor where the Hispaniola was. Ben Gunn came with me. We could hear the sounds of a battle. Then I saw the British flag, the Union Jack, in the air above the trees. Chapter 5. The doctor continues the story. After the two boats left the Hispaniola, the captain, the squire, and I talked in the cabin. Then Hunter came and told us that Jim Hawkins was on the island with the pirates. "Poor Jim," said the squire. "They'll find him and kill him." We ran on deck and saw the two boats near a river with two men in them. We decided to go to the island. But first we looked at the map. There was a stockade on it. "Hunter," I said, "you and I will go and find this stockade." We got into a boat. The two pirates near the river saw us, but they didn't do anything. We went towards the beach where the stockade was. When we arrived, I got out of the boat and ran fast into the trees. The stockade was there, on top of a small hill. Inside, there was a large wooden cabin with holes in the walls for guns. Around the cabin was a high wall made of wood. With food and water, we could stay in this stockade, safe from the pirates. Then I heard a terrible sound. It was the cry of a person at the moment of death. Jim Hawkins, poor boy, I thought. They've killed him. And I was very sad. When we arrived back at the ship, the others also thought Jim was dead. Then we put lots of things in the boat: guns, powder, ammunition, meat, biscuits, and cognac. There were 6 pirates on board. One of them was Israel Hands. With 2 pistols in his hands, the captain called him. "Don't do anything stupid, Hands, or we'll kill you." The 6 men ran away and hid in another part of the ship. When our boat was ready, we all got in and went towards the island. The men in the boat saw us, and one of them ran to tell Long John Silver. At the stockade, we put the things in the cabin. Then the captain, Red Ruth, and I went back to the Hispaniola and took more provisions. We worked very fast. Then the captain called to one of the pirates on the ship. "Gray," he said, "you're a good man, I know. Come with us. You've got 30 seconds. There was silence. Then we heard sounds of a fight, and suddenly Abraham Gray ran towards us. "I'm with you, sir," he said. Our boat was small. There were 5 men and a lot of things in it. The current was different now. It took us away from our beach. "We will never arrive at the stockade," I said. "Look, behind us, on the ship," said the captain. The 5 men on the ship were busy with a big cannon. They were going to fire at us. "Mr. Trelawney," said the captain, "shoot Israel Hands." The squire fired his gun, but he didn't kill Hands. One of the other men fell. Now we saw a lot of pirates in one of the boats near the river. "The pirates are coming," said the captain. "Only one of the boats is coming," I said. "Perhaps the other pirates are running to the stockade." "Perhaps," the captain said. "But I'm frightened of that cannon. They're going to fire it." We were very near the beach when the pirates fired. The cannonball passed over our heads. Then our boat went under the water. At that moment, we heard some pirates in the woods. They were very near the stockade, where there were only 2 men, Hunter and Joyce. "Hurry, hurry," said the captain, and we ran quickly up the little hill towards the stockade. But the buccaneers were just behind us. 7 of them ran fast towards us. The squire and I fired our pistols and killed one of them, but Tom Redruth was shot. We took him into the stockade and put him on the floor of the cabin, and there brave Redruth died. We were all very sad. Suddenly a cannonball exploded inside the stockade. All that evening, ball after ball fell, but they didn't hit us. Israel Hands couldn't see the stockade, but he could see the Union Jack above the cabin. That was dangerous. "We must take it down, Captain," said the squire. But the captain said no. 2 men went to the beach to bring the things from our boat. But the pirates were already there, and they were taking our things. The captain wrote in his logbook, "There are 6 of us now: Captain Smollett, Dr. Livesey, Abraham Gray, Squire Trelawney, John Hunter, and Richard Joyce. We came to this stockade on Treasure Island, and we have got provisions for 10 days. Thomas Redruth, the squire's servant, was shot by the buccaneers. Jim Hawkins, cabin boy." Chapter 6. Jim Hawkins continues the story. When Ben Gunn saw the Union Jack, he stopped. "That's Flint's old stockade," he said. "Are your friends there?" "I don't know," I replied. "Perhaps it's the pirates." "No, their flag is the Jolly Roger. It's your friends." "Good. Now I can go to them," I said. "Are you coining with me?" "No, mate. Old Ben Gunn isn't stupid. First you must tell the squire about me, and he must promise to help me. Tell him to come and find me." "All right, I'm going now." In different directions. For an hour, a lot of cannonballs fell. I was very frightened and stayed in the woods. In the evening, I arrived at the beach, and I saw the Hispaniola with the black Jolly Roger, the pirate's flag. The bombardment stopped. I waited for a while, and then I decided to go to the stockade. When I stood up, I saw a high white rock in some trees near the sea. "That's Ben Gunn's white rock," I thought. "Now I know where his boat is." Then I ran to the stockade. I told my story to my friends in the cabin. When I finished, it was evening, and the wind was cold. I was very tired, but the captain gave us all some work. 2 men went to find wood for the fire, and the doctor cooked some food. I was a guard at the door. After a while, the doctor talked to me about Ben Gunn. He wanted to know where he was. He said, "I've got a piece of Italian Parmesan cheese. It's very good. I'd like to give it to Ben Gunn." After our dinner, we talked. There was only a little food, so we knew that we must kill the pirates quickly. We could hear them. They were sitting by the river about half a mile away. They were singing round a fire. I was very tired and I fell asleep. When I woke up, there were voices. "Look, it's Long John Silver," somebody said. "He's coming here with a white flag. He wants to talk." The captain said, "Stay here, men. Guns ready." Then he called to the pirate. "What do you want?" "Captain Silver wants to speak to you," said John Silver. "Captain Silver? I don't know him. Who's he?" "The men said I'm captain now. After you left the ship, sir. Can we talk?" "I don't want to talk with you, Silver. You can come in if you want, but don't try to do anything stupid." "I give you my word, sir." So Silver threw his crutch over the wall. He only had 1 leg, but he climbed into the stockade very well. Then he came up the small hill and arrived at the cabin. The captain told him to sit down. "On the sand?" Silver said. "Yes, on the sand, Silver. You can't come into the cabin. Now, what do you want to say?" Long John sat down. "You did very well last night, Captain. My men and I were very surprised. You came and killed one of them. He was full of rum and he was asleep. But you won't do it again, Captain." The captain didn't understand this, but I remembered Ben Gunn. "Did he kill one of the pirates last night?" "Well, now there were only 13 of them." Silver continued, "You've got the map. We want it, Captain." The captain smoked his pipe calmly. "We know that, my man, but you can't have it." Long John was angry. but he smoked his pipe too. "Now here's my idea, Captain," he said. "You give us the map. When we get the treasure on the ship, you can sail with us. I give you my word that you'll be safe, but if you don't like that idea, you can stay here and we'll give you some of our food. When I see a ship, I'll tell the captain to come here. What do you say, Captain Smollett?" "Is that all?" the captain said. "Now you listen to me, Silver. You must come here with all your pirates, and without any guns. I promise I'll take you to England for a fair trial. If you don't do this, we'll kill you, all of you. Now go, quickly." Silver was furious. He stood up with his crutch. "You dogs! You're laughing now, but I'm coming back with my men. We'll kill you all." After he went out of the stockade, the captain spoke to us. "In an hour, Silver will come back with his men," he said. "There are 13 of them. We are 6, and Jim. But we can beat them. Hawkins, eat your breakfast. Hunter, brandy for everyone. Trelawney, put out the fire. Doctor, you will be at the door. Hunter, you will be on the east side of the cabin. Joyce, west. Trelawney, you and Gray go to the north side. Hawkins, you and I will load the guns." An hour passed. We waited nervously. Then Joyce suddenly saw the pirates and fired his gun. The pirates fired at us. Then they stopped. All was quiet again. "How many shots did you see, Doctor?" asked the captain. "3. "Mr. Trelawney?" "About 7. "So they're attacking from the north." The captain was right. A few minutes later, a lot of pirates came out of the woods to the north. They ran towards the stockade and climbed over the wall. The squire and Gray fired their guns. They killed 2 pirates, but 4 of them ran toward us. One pirate attacked the doctor. The captain shouted, "Fight them outside the cabin with cutlasses!" Quickly, I took a cutlass and ran out of the cabin. Gray was behind me. The doctor killed his attacker. I ran to the left and I saw a pirate. Suddenly I fell. The pirate was going to kill me, but Gray ran from behind me and killed him. Now 4 pirates were dead. The other one ran away and escaped. The doctor, Gray, and I ran back quickly to the cabin. Hunter was dead and Joyce died later. The captain was wounded. "How many of them are dead?" he asked the doctor. 5, including the pirate last night." "That's good. Now there are 4 of us against 8 of them." Chapter 7. My Sea Adventure. The pirates didn't return. While the squire and I cooked dinner, the doctor helped the captain. "Your wound isn't dangerous," he told him, "but you must rest." After dinner, the doctor put on his hat and took his pistols. He also took a cutlass and a map, and he left the stockade and went into the woods. "What's he doing?" Gray asked me. "I think he's going to find Ben Gunn." "He's crazy," laughed Gray. Then I also did something crazy. It was very hot in the stockade now. There was a lot of blood. There were dead men. I began to feel bad. I wanted to leave and go into the woods like the doctor. So I put a lot of biscuits in my pockets and I took 2 pistols. Then I ran out of the stockade and into the trees. Nobody saw me. Yes, I was crazy, but I was only a boy, and you will see that I helped to save all of us. I decided to find Ben Gunn's boat, so I went towards the White Rock. I could see the Hispaniola in the harbor to my right. I ran quickly to the White Rock and I looked for Ben Gunn's boat. I found it, a very small, light boat. There was also a paddle. Now I had another crazy idea. I decided to go to the Hispaniola and cut her anchor rope. Then she would go towards the beach and stop there, so the pirates couldn't escape. It was very dark now, but I could just see the pirates' big fire near the river and the lights of the Hispaniola. I took the little boat down to the sea. The current was strong, and it carried me fast towards the Hispaniola. When I was near her, I took the anchor rope in my hand. It was very rigid. I thought, this rope is dangerous. I mustn't cut it, or it will hit me. But I was lucky, because the wind changed and the ship moved towards me. Now the rope wasn't rigid, and I could cut it. At that moment, I heard voices in the captain's cabin. It was Israel hands and a pirate with a red cap. They were drunk. They were also angry, and each man was shouting at the other. When I cut the rope, the Hispaniola began to move round with the current. I paddled towards the window of Captain Smollett's cabin to watch Hans and his companion. I climbed up a rope, and I saw a terrible fight between the two men. They wanted to kill each other. I went down the rope to the boat. Suddenly the current changed again. The ship and my little boat turned and went towards the island. The pirates' campfire was very near. Then the ship turned again and went away from me very fast. I was now alone in my little boat. The waves were strong and high. I was very wet and cold. I sat there in terror. Tin going to die soon, I thought. But sleep soon came to me and I dreamed of home. It was day when I woke up. My boat was at the southwest end of the island. I wasn't far from land, but there were cliffs and big rocks. Then I remembered the map. I knew there was a good place called Cape of the Woods to the north. I also remembered that the map showed a strong north current, so I decided to stop at the Cape of the Woods. My little boat went up and down on the big waves, and I was very frightened. I paddled slowly. It was hard work, and I became tired and thirsty. Then I saw the trees of the Cape of the Woods, but the current was very strong, and it took me past the cape. Suddenly, I saw the Hispaniola in front of me, about half a mile away. Now the pirates will kill me, I thought. But the ship was moving strangely. She sailed and stopped, and she turned north, south, east, west. I watched her with surprise. And then I understood. The two pirates were drunk or asleep. I had an idea. Perhaps I can go on board and take her to the captain. So I paddled towards her, and when I came near to her, I jumped onto the bowsprit above me. My boat went under the water, but now I was on the Hispaniola. Was there anybody on board? I heard only the sound of the ship when she turned in the wind. Then I saw the two pirates on deck. Perhaps they were asleep. But when I saw some blood on the deck, I was sure they were dead. Then Israel Hands moved. "Brandy," he said in a weak voice. I went down to the captain's cabin. There were lots of empty bottles. I found one with some brandy, and I took some biscuits and cheese and went up on deck. I drank a lot of water from the water barrel, and then I gave the brandy to Hans. He drank a lot quickly. I sat down and began to eat. "What happened here?" I asked. Hans looked at the man with the red cap. "Well, that dirty dog is dead," he replied. "What are you doing here?" "This ship is mine now, Mr. Hans, so please call me Captain." He looked at me, but he didn't speak. When I took down the black pirate flag, he said, "Shall we talk, Captain Hawkins? Me and this man here, O'Brien. We wanted to sail the ship back to the harbor where she was before. But, well, he's dead now. Who is going to sail her? You?" No, you can't do it. Give me food and drink and something for my wound. Then I'll tell you how to sail her." "We're not going back to the harbor," I answered. "Tin's sailing the ship to North Inlet, and I'm going to take her onto the beach there."